think we're going live. All right. Welcome in, everyone. All right. My name is Mackenzie. Lisa will be joining us shortly. Mother-daughter duo today we'll be doing. We're doing Unbreakable plants today. Basically, I'm going to get into some native stuff. I'm going to also show you what you can do that's native-ish, that's still drought-tolerant, hardy, but it gives you a softer look. Because a lot of people think you can do cactus and rocks and yuccas, but there's so much more you can do to still be safe for Prescott and indestructible, but give you some color. So I'm kind of go into like shrubs, perennials, and then your true native stuff over here. So kind of give you a little bit of everything. Have some questions at the end for you. Go a little bit over how to plant this stuff. And then just answer questions. I'm going to pass around this handout sheet, or not handout, sign-up sheet. I'll be passing out like our top 10 Yavapai friendly plants, our indestructible like Firewise plant list, and then I'll be passing out our iris. Just how to plant bulbs or iris since bulb season's coming up on us here. Also something we're doing right now, if you haven't seen, we're selling iris bulbs online. So if you go to our online store, it's an online exclusive. Just buy it online. It ships directly to you. So it doesn't even come to our store. It just ships directly to you. Those are happening right now. We'll be adding daffodils. We'll be adding hyacinth. There's one more. I can't remember. So we'll be adding those on that you can now order bulbs and they'll be sent to you. They come from California and then Holland to California. So it's a safe company. I trust them. We tested it out. We got some bulbs and they were sent just fine. They looked good. So just letting you know it's coming up. So right now it's iris. So that's why I'm sending out an iris handout. I think that's it for that. So let's get into it. I will probably start on this side because these are fun, but I don't want to touch them right now. So we'll start over here. So the one thing that I've noticed around town that's still blooming and going is the smoke trees. I don't know if you guys have seen them. Let me back up a little bit. They have a little light plume on them. They kind of look like smoke around town, big purple bushes with like kind of a light plume on them. They're gorgeous. Super great. They're on the big side. So I have two different colors. This is just the darker one that I like. So this one's called the just royal purple smoke tree. Royal purple smoke tree. Yep. This guy gets 15 feet tall, 12 feet wide. So it's not huge, but it's just a nice filler. It does kind of fill out all the way. You can leave it to the base or you can cut it up. So it's kind of like it could be a shrub, could be a tree, whatever you want it to be. New foliage. I mean, it's still growing. That's a new, and then it kind of fades to this darker purple. Blooms probably from, I think, August till we get cold, end of October or so. So it blooms late, but it's kind of your last bloomer of the season. So it just brings you into the fall. So it's really nice that way. So nothing, pigs don't eat this, deer don't eat this, rabbits, no. Yeah, I mean, so caveat with anything, I say resist it. So they shouldn't eat this stuff. This year they've been a little desperate. I've had them eating everything they're not supposed to be eating, including some cactus for a little bit of everything. So take it with a grain of salt. And then also by indestructible, most way that everyone's going to kill this stuff is overwatering. So indestructible, ignore it, don't touch it. But that's how most people are going to kill all of this, just by overwatering. Okay, so this is Lisa. We'll see. See if this works. If not, we'll pass the thing.
Check. I don't think it's working.
Okay, you're going to need one because you can't hear her voice.
I can talk really loud.
It's more for the online class. We want them to be able to hear. We'll split. So yeah, resistant. I've never seen them touch this stuff, honestly, for this one. Not even try to nibble it. So smoke tree's pretty safe for that. This one, I think Ken just sent an article out. Just jump in whenever you want. I'm going over shrubs. This is a gilt-edged silverberry. Yep. This is the true, like, original. Yeah. So this is the original. This is kind of what they made. So this is just silverberry, gilt-edged silverberry. Okay. These are big shrubs. What, like 8 feet?
Probably max 6 by 6.
Okay. 6 feet.
The regular silverberry might get a little bigger.
Talk about it.
So this one is This is like a tried and true, really tough shrub. If you have deer, if you have rabbit, javelina, really, really tough. Nothing eats it. And it's very, very drought hardy when it's established. Both of them.
Both.
This one's this one's probably a little bigger, gets a little bigger in size. They've seen them upwards of 10 feet or so, 10 by 10. This one, the variegated one, is probably more like a 6 by 6. So a little bit smaller shrub, but still a good sized shrub. They're both animal resistant. They both have a kind of a bloom. It's not a showy bloom, but it's a very fragrant bloom, particularly this green one. So in the fall, it kind of sends off a little tiny flower. But what it loses in size, it makes up for in fragrance, just wonderful fragrance. But both excellent shrubs if you're going to do a hedge, if you're trying to do some screening. I have these out in front of my house. I have 3 of them in front of a window. I got to trim them because I'm keeping them under the window. But I like them because they're animal resistant, very drought hardy. In fact, the only way I ever killed one was I overwatered it. The drip head had popped off, so it was just spurting water on it every time. I'm like, why is it dying? So I went to look at it, and it was just soggy, and that's what killed it. So wonderful plants for here. Do excellent.
Berry. Silverberry. Yeah. The way you'll know that some stuff is animal resistant is, I don't know if you can kind of see it here. I'm going to show the online class. But it has this gray cover on it. And you'll notice this one too. It's got this gray look to it on back and front side. That's kind of a protectant from animals. That's why they don't want to eat it, is they don't want to taste this rough gray texture on here. Doesn't really affect the look. It just kind of keeps animals off of it. That's also what keeps it drought tolerant, is it that helps keep in moisture so it doesn't just dry out. So that's what you look for in plants that are the most hardiest animal resistant. So I thought I'd show that off.
And they're both evergreen.
Evergreen.
So they keep their leaves year round. This one with the variegation on it, and you can kind of see it if you look real close. When the new leaves are just green. They almost look like this plant. But as the leaves mature, they get that yellow green to them. Also in the wintertime, this loses some of its variation and kind of just becomes more of a green, but it keeps its leaves. Yes. The question was how they do in the wind. Excellent. Yeah, they can take the wind. They're getting that kind of waxy, tough leaf. Keeps them from drying out. So this one is in the Cotoneaster family. This is Cotoneaster parnii, also known as red clusterberry. This one gets easily 6 by 6, evergreen as well. It puts on a little white flower in the spring, very delicate little cluster flowers, and then it puts around red berries in the fall. This one is also animal resistant, very drought hardy. It has a really pretty growth to it. If you just let it grow natural, it kind of has like a fountain shape to it, very, very pretty. Or you can keep it trimmed and hedged too, depending upon what you want it to do.
Yeah, I've got 2 of these in a southern spot up against a wall. They get all the heat and they're doing just fine. So they can handle anything. This, you probably know it or you don't. The berries give it away. This is the pyracantha. This is the low boy. No, Graber's. We don't have low boy. Graber's pyracantha. So if you're wanting a spot, can you see it? It's low boy. Okay, I knew what I was talking about. I know my plants. Low boy pyracantha. So not really a hedge per se, just kind of stays around 4 feet by 4 feet. We do have bigger ones and smaller ones, so you have anything you want. But if you want a space that you don't want anyone walking through, animals or people otherwise, this has that fire thorn on it, kind of that prickle. So nothing wants to walk through it. So you just put it in a space where you want to fill up and not have to touch it again. This is it. Again, little white flowers is what you see to create these orange berries on there. This side, I think, shows it more. Beautiful orange berries. I think, do birds eat the berries? Or yeah, it's a good feeder for your birds. I've had my dogs eat it and not get sick. So I know people worry about that. But if you're ever worried, don't put it where your dogs can get to it, because they eat enough stuff, they always get sick, but it's not like poisonous. Okay, my dogs are like 7 pounds. Didn't hurt them. I don't know why they're eating it. But powder can, again, evergreen. You'll see it around town right now. If you look anywhere, those orange berries are filling up the bushes around town. They're gorgeous right now. You can easily hack these two down if you want, keep them shaped, or let them go natural. It's kind of up to you. It's not going to hurt them either way. They'll do just fine, shaped or otherwise. Anything else on this? Yeah. They're easy.
Easy care.
Hold that for me while I lift them.
Yes, ma'am. She's the lifter. I'm just here to look pretty. What's next? Oh, okay. So these two, so the one on the right here, or my right, is boxwood. So boxwood is there again, actually very deer and bunny and javelina resistant. It's kind of a good base shrub. It's just solid. It's green all the time. Doesn't take a lot of extra care. There's not a lot of insects or anything that go after it. To me, it's kind of one of those founding shrubs. It's a good, I need something under a window. I need something in a hot spot. It actually even grows in shade. So it's just a really good, easy care shrub. I think we carry 2 varieties, the wintergreen, which is a little more rounder. Oh, sorry. Winter gem, yep, which is the more narrow variety. So it gets 5-6 feet, but it's more narrow. And what's the other one? Green Mountain. Green Mountain is a rounder one. It gets about 5 feet.
And it gets little white flowers on it. Not anything noticeable. You're just getting it solid plant, easy to shear, easy to keep in a line. A lot of people use it as a low hedge or just as a staple in your yard.
Actually does really good in containers too. If you have containers and you want a staple plant that's just always green, always there, and then you put seasonal color around it, it's a great plant for that. Also good for hedging and trimming if you want to make a shape, round balls, triangles, cones. You can do that with that plant.
Yeah. I like it as a Christmas tree sometimes. You hedge it and do a triangle and then put lights on it.
So this one is Mahonia. Oregon grape is the other name for it. So it kind of comes in 3 different flavors. You get the standard Mahonia Oregon grape, which gets 5 foot tall, 5'6" by 5'6". Evergreen as well. Also gets a really pretty fall color to it. So if you're looking for something to bring in some reds and oranges in the fall and winter, excellent shrub for that. It is not technically a holly, even though it's called Oregon grape holly. It does have kind of the little spiny leaves to it, animal resistant. It has a cousin, the compact Oregon grape holly, which gets about 3 by 3. So there again, just a smaller shrub, get into different spaces, works very well. And then the third one is Repens or creeping Mahonia. That one is a great shrub, ground cover to put under big trees. So I have a huge juniper in my backyard. Not a lot of stuff wants to grow under that juniper, but the creeping Mahonia does an excellent job. It's a really good, it doesn't want to be out in full hot burning sun, but the creeper does really good as an underplanting under other trees.
Yeah, the one other thing too is in the springtime, this is kind of one of the first things to bloom, and it blooms yellow, like bright yellow. What? Yeah, and it's super fragrant. So you get those early spring blooms under a tree. It really showcases out in your yard, more native yard against rock. It just shows up. And then the blue fall berries, again, it's just like an all around year plant that does super well. And this guy loves to be in the ground more than containers or pots. Like sometimes you'll see a lot of this in the ground, in the pot. As soon as you put it in the ground, it looks instantly better. It just thrives more. So definitely in the ground, put a plant, but it's just gorgeous. So. All right. Okay. Moving on to, well, there's 2 more. It's a juniper. Y'all know it, but we got to talk about it because it's hard to kill here. These are the last 3 true shrubs, and then we'll go into perennials, and then we'll go back to the native stuff. Start with this one. So this is a sumac. This is the Grow Low Fragrant Sumac. Okay, it's skunk bush too? Okay. Okay, so this is 3 feet by 8 feet. So it's very low grow. We have, yeah, and we got another variety too, but they all turn color, right? You should talk about this. My super confident sumacs.
So sumacs again, it's kind of a broad group of plants. There's trees, there's low growing, everything in between. This is grow low. It's great for on hillsides if you're trying to, for hillside planting. It's a wonderful plant for that. It does get a fall color to it, kind of that orangey red fall color. It is not evergreen. It will lose its leaves in the winter and just kind of be sticks there. But it's a very low water use plant. They're again, very animal resistant plant. The other one we have in the same family is Trilobata, which is otherwise known as skunk bush. That one does get taller. So that one probably gets 5 foot tall or so. Kind of a cool, if you're into like xeriscaping, native, it's a wonderful shrub to put out there. It's a true native for here. You'll see it just outgrowing. So that makes it animal resistant, very drought hardy, just a really good plant for here.
Yeah, they're all going to have similar leaf shapes. That's how you know it's a sumac. And then sumacs also have almost a fuzz on their bark. So you can also kind of tell it's a sumac. So there's different varieties. That's just the telltales of what you have. Okay, this one, I mean, people love it or hate it. This is a heavily bamboo or Nandina, but it's not invasive bamboo. A lot of people hear that and they get worried it's going to take over their yard. Doesn't do that. This guy gets kind of 3 feet by 3 feet. It's a little mounding thing. It throws off this orangey red color, kind of the new growth, and then it turns a lot more red in the fall. So that new growth just turns even redder when it gets colder. And then in the summertime, it goes back to more green. I also have a firepower Nandina, which has a thicker leaf if you like a thicker leaf. But this guy, I've not had a problem with animals eating it. Bugs don't even go after it. So it's kind of just takes care of itself. Again, most people overwater it. They think with the leaves in the summer, they need to water it more. It just holds on to that moisture. You can cut it back if you want. Really don't need to because it doesn't grow very big. But this is just kind of a solid staple for the area that people have. I like it up against rocks because it kind of showcases more because of the red, kind of things like that. But you can handle anything. Full sun if you can. Gets it more color in the full sun, but you can do some partial shade as well if you need. This is juniper. That's it. Yeah. Okay. This is a mint julep juniper. It's kind of what you see a lot around here as hedges or big blocks of green. That's this guy. Okay, there's lots of varieties of junipers around here. All of them do just as well. You just decide your color and your sizing. This is just a traditional, people let this grow big and then they cut it back. So they'll see it as like a huge hedge. If you let it go natural, has kind of a wild look to it, but it makes it, maybe it's natural. I don't know. That's juniper.
So there again, junipers is a huge family of plants, right? You see them from the great big native junipers that we have to ground-hugging, ground cover junipers. We are in a natural juniper forest area. So junipers just perform wonderfully here. I don't see a lot of disease. I don't see a lot of insects. I think the main thing I worry about with junipers is spider mite. And those show up in the summertime, but you just got to learn how to keep an eye out for it. Pretty easy to treat once you see it. But very versatile group of plants, whether you need a screen or whether you need a ground cover, something evergreen under your windows. And the thing about junipers, most of the ones we sell here are not the allergy inducing, want to kill you junipers. My big juniper is yellow in the spring because it has so much pollen on it. These do not do that. So don't be afraid to put in a juniper. I get a lot of people that are like, oh, I can't do it. you're going to be okay unless you got your nose stuck in it 24 hours a day breathing it. So just a really low maintenance, easy care plant for here.
All right, perennials.
Perennials. So this is germander. Germander gets probably about this is the upright. So upright probably gets a foot and a half tall. It's going to spread maybe 3 feet or so. Actually is evergreen. It is also animal resistant for those bunnies and things, not gopher resistant, animal resistant. It puts on a kind of a violety pink flower late summer. You just kind of trim that. It doesn't require a lot of maintenance other than trimming off that blossom. Once it's done its thing, you want to trim it up. Just makes it look a little prettier. It also has a creeping germander. So it has a cousin that actually stays a little lower and spreads out more. But just really good in perennial beds if you're looking for something green, or in pots. It's just a really nice little perennial for here that a lot of people don't know about, but actually performs very well.
This is catmint. This is the Nova Blue catmint, but catmint in general. Purple flower. I don't know if the online class can see that. Little purple flower, blooms mostly in the summer, kind of keeps going until we get that cold in October. This guy will take up a space. It is still in the mint family. So as you know, mint likes to take over wherever you put it. So this is a little bit more contained to that, a little bit less wild, doesn't just grow, but it will take its spot and take ownership of it. So just put it where you want it to fill and then go from there. Full sun for this guy. Most people get overwater it in the shade. So I say full sun. Because it's a mint and an herb, nothing's going to really touch it. They shouldn't touch it. So we're getting resistant. So great for like a filler. Like I have a lot of people that maybe they don't want a lawn of grass. They want to fill space though. Mint. It kind of fills that area. It's still soft to kind of walk on. I mean, the bees are still going to like this, but it just is kind of a good low plant. You can't cook with it still. Okay, get regular mint. All right. Do I have another? Yeah, I do. Okay. So these are both sages. This is a meadow sage. Right? Yeah. Meadow sage. This is the autumn sage, salvia. Both just as hardy. This guy's a little lower growing, a little more compact, kind of a foot by a foot is what it fills up. Bright purple flowers from summer. They bloom kind of May, June, all the way into October. They might take a break in July when it's hot, but they'll keep blooming. Great little plant. You'll see it around town right now. It's in full glory, right? Pink and purple is what it comes in. 2 different shades.
So it'll get more, once it because it'll bloom. If you kind of deadhead it, it'll bloom again. Deadhead it, it'll bloom. It'll give you many more blooms if you deadhead it. So it's not a lot of maintenance, but you'll get more out of it if you trim it. Trim those blossoms off now and again. So this one is the autumn sage, Salvia gregii. Trying to think of other names it goes by, but you'll see it. Used to be just red. You only saw it in red. Now you see it in red. We have yellow. We have orange, pinks, purples. This is a wonderful, wonderful hummingbird plant. If you want to bring hummers into your yard, this is the plant. It is excellent for it. It will go dormant in the wintertime. You just kind of leave it through the winter, and then you give it a good trim about the first part of March. And it's just kind of a really low maintenance, continual bloomer. I do sometimes go through mine and deadhead them if they start to get a little leggy, which sometimes late summer they can do that. I just kind of go through and trim them, and then they just keep blooming again. So animal resistant as well. If you've had javelina, deer, bunnies, perfect plant to put out there in the yard. Full sun takes the heat like a trooper. This is also unique in that it will also grow in the shade. So if you have a shady spot or a partly sunny spot, you're like, it'll do it. Very, very versatile plant does well here.
Yeah, so all of these guys, I like to say, they have a lifespan here, as most things do. It's long, but not crazy long. I would say 7 to 8 years on these guys, most perennials. Then our weather kind of just takes things out. These guys can get really woody over time, and so they kind of just are done. Shrubs, you can probably get, 10 to 15 years out of. Trees, 20 to 30. So things do have lifespans here, but you will get a long lifespan out of this. You should just care for it, but it's still only like 7 years. Okay. All right, let's do these two. All right, Society garlic. Okay, this is just a great plant because it does smell like garlic. So if you don't like that, don't plant it. Comes in a variegated form or the straight green form. All bloom that purple, lavender. Okay, because it smells like garlic, nothing wants to eat it. Nothing wants to touch it. They don't like that smell. It's kind of a good foot by foot with the flowers being an extra few inches on there. I like to mix it in with my perennials because it's not just a showcaser by itself, but if you start mixing it in with things, that way you kind of see the flowers and have lower things around it, makes it show off more. It's not really great by itself. Yeah, full sun, I would say it can do partial, especially just the straight green because the variegated in shade will lose its variegation, but partial shade to full sun on this guy. Can you separate that? Would you?
Yeah, you could separate it.
So if you can see in it, it almost grows like onions. It kind of has that shape to it. So you could separate it out and put it in different parts of your yard if you like. Yeah, green. It has green center with like a yellow edge, but it's like a faded yellow. And not as vibrant. It's more of a cream outside. Yeah.
This one is called pincushion or scabiosa. I prefer pincushion because it sounds so much better. Wonderful little butterfly plant. Really brings the butterflies in. It kind of has that landing pad that they like. So super plant to put into your pollinator gardens. They're gonna bloom all season. Deadhead it, keeps it blooming longer. It will go dormant in the winter time, which is not a big deal in our perennial beds, but wakes up, I'd say end of March, first part of April, and just kind of keeps blooming its little heart out. With any of these, I will say, since we're talking perennials and blooming, if you want to keep your perennials blooming longer and prettier and brighter, make sure, we forgot to bring it up, but there is a product called Flower Power. It's a water-soluble plant food that is like a 9-48-10 or something. So that 48, that phosphorus, that middle number, that's what keeps things blooming. So, I'm of the belief that I want to enjoy my perennials to the fullest extent throughout the season. So I'm going to take the effort to every 2 weeks, I go through with my watering can and I hit my perennials. And it really does keep them blooming so much longer. That's a little offshoot there, but I wanted to remind people of that because it does make a difference in your yard. It really does. Yep. Yeah.
Those are annuals too. It keeps annuals going, like your calibrachoas. Petunias, they can stop blooming. Put some of that on. Makes them keep blooming.
I get people that are like, I don't believe you, but I'm going to try it. And they come back for more because it really does make a huge difference out in the yard. So moving on. This is Miner's Merlot Euphorbia. It's also has a cousin called Rainbow Ascot, which we didn't bring up, but it's very more variegated. It has yellows and pinks and creams and greens to it. This is an unusual plant because it looks kind of delicate, but it is animal resistant. It actually has it's kind of in the same family as poinsettias, and if you break a stem, it has that real milky, icky kind of sap that comes out of it. Makes it very animal resistant. Yeah. You broke the plant.
I broke it.
It's actually an evergreen plant. I have some in containers and I have some in the ground, and it performs beautifully in both places. I've had 2 feet of snow laying on top of it in the wintertime, and it looks like this, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then a couple of nice warm sunny days and it just pops right back up. They bloom in the spring. It's not really a bloom. It's more of a bract. There again, poinsettias. It's a bract. It's not a true bloom, but it's very, very pretty. It's kind of like a chartreusey green color. So against this dark foliage, it just stands out. It's like, wow. And it blooms in the spring. Sun, put it in full, hot sun. It will love it. Do not overwater it. That is the main way people kill this plant is they overwater it. So this one, the rainbow ascot, and the other one we didn't bring up, Kenzie, is the gopher plant.
The blue.
So gopher plant, everybody notices them in the spring because that again, that really bright green blossom kind of thing on it. Very drought hardy. It's one of those plants that actually looks prettier in the ground. You look at it in the container and you're like, well, that's kind of ugly. Why is she trying to sell me this? But you put it in the ground, you just let it grow. It's an evergreen. And it just takes care of itself. And it's just so pretty in the spring, and it doesn't take a lot of maintenance. I trim it up periodically, but otherwise I just kind of ignore it. I mean, I have water to it, but it's very minimal. But it's one I would definitely put in the ground. The gopher plant, I would say it gets about 1.5 feet tall, 2 max, and probably spreads 3 to 4 feet.
These guys get more upright. They're more like 2 feet, 3
Yeah.
feet, 5, 3 feet.
Yeah, the minor Merlot actually does get taller, but you got to try one. If you haven't put one in your yard, you really got to try them. So this is a milkweed. So milkweeds are one of those plants that if you're into monarchs at all, you hear the word milkweed, right? So milkweed is the plant that the larvae, when they're like the caterpillar form, need to feed on. So, I mean, they do bloom and they're pretty, but don't put it in a pot by itself because you'll be disappointed. But mix it into that perennial bed or even into your vegetable garden where it's just a really helps our environment. Very great for that. So milkweed comes in a lot of different varieties. There are some true natives that we actually have the seed for. We have this one. We have 3 different varieties of milkweed in right now. But like I said, they're great for the pollinator. If you're doing pollinator gardens, perfect to put in there for that. For the most part, animal resistant. They may nibble on them if they're truly desperate. But for the most part,
They're toxic.
no, I don't think they're toxic.
It's a good. You gotta have mixer plants to kind of help bring in some of the animals that you like, the butterflies, the hummingbirds, the bees. Then mix in with your other plants. So that's kind of why I bring some stuff up because it's indestructible, but mix it with the other things to make it look pretty, kind of thing. We have one gal who used to work for us. She just has a monarch garden. Like she comes and takes all our monarch seeds, all our plants, puts them all in there and mixes it with some perennials, and then she has a sanctuary for the butterflies and then the pollination to go with it, kind of thing. So it's kind of fun to see your yard, like all like wildflower. All right, these are so these are sedums. I'll lift them up and show you. There's only certain ones that will do year round here. Okay, there's hundreds upon hundreds of sedums varieties. Only certain ones will go through the winter. So I don't know if anyone's from California, you don't have to say. But if you came and you brought your mix of sedums with you, left them out for the winter, and they rotted and turned black, they weren't meant for the cold. So I had a lot of people lose their stuff they brought, and it's just heartbreaking. So you got to be careful what you choose. Okay, if they're inside our store, they're not meant for outdoors. If they're outside, you can do year round. So these are kind of like ground cover ones. This is that traditional hens and chicks. You guys know that hens and chicks does great here. It can go through the winters, the summers, everything just fine. This one kind of, as you can tell, sends up pups everywhere and kind of spreads that way. You can put it in pots if you want, and it kind of starts trailing down over pots a little bit. I like to mix all my sedums together. Sedums are ones that you can shove together. They're not going to root each other out. They like to be tight-rooted, smaller pots, smaller areas between rocks. If you have a rock wall and nothing grows, shove one of those in there, any type, and it will start growing over. So these are great filler plants. This is the bronze carpet stonecrop sedum. Again, this is as tall as it gets, and then it trails everywhere. It likes to trail over things. I have several others. These are the nicer ones that are looking good right now. A lot of them, we do have lots of ones that bloom. A lot of them bloom pink. You can get the tall varieties. You can get the low. We have a low spreader that blooms pink. There's lots of them. Just be careful what you're getting. Rabbit and javelina and stuff can sometimes go for these because they do hold moisture. They have a lot of moisture in their leaves, and when they're desperate, they're probably going to go for these. Otherwise, if you don't have animals, they're great. But they will eat them. Kind of go into some different agaves. So again, agaves. There's so few things you can do here with agaves in terms of there's hundreds of varieties. Only like 3 or 4 do well here. Lots of them are zonal. So the surrounding area, we're kind of in zone 7, 7B right now. Kind of on our way to zone 8. A lot of these things are zone 8s. So like we had a winter like last winter, they're going to do just fine. You don't need to cover them or anything. We have a bit of a colder winter. I think these all can go to 0 about, maybe a little. This one can. This one can go to 0. This is your traditional agave perii. This is a century plant. People know it as. It blooms once a century. No, it blooms every 10 years. This is that one, the big bloom that throws off the orange yellow flower. And then once it's done, the whole thing dies. But you get a lot of life out of this guy. So I know it's small, but they can grow big. Probably like, 4 feet? Yeah, 4 feet by 5 feet.
This is probably one. This is the artichoke agave.
Oh, artichoke.
It goes down.
-10. That can go cold.
Intake are cold and be happy and be fine. Some are a little more marginal.
Yeah, so these are a little marginal. So they're kind of a zone 8. So some years you might throw a bucket or cover it with like a frost cloth or maybe some mulch over it. But it can go pretty cold before you need to deal with it. This is the Victoria agave. This is a popular one that people like kind of because of that color. And then this one. What's this one? Oh, porcupine agave. Just different colors. How big do these ones get? Show the online class.
I'd say maybe, but these two stay a little smaller, maybe foot by a foot or a little bit wider. Yeah, sends little pups around. So in the wintertime, if they're going like, it's gonna be freezing, yeah, protect it. Give it some little protection. Also, I would say plant your agaves in warm spots where they get the heat, they get the reflective heat, rock walls. They don't mind if there's rocks around them. Any more heat you can give to them, the happier they are. Definitely. So animal, well, there again, most of the time they don't bother them, but if the deer animals are feeling a lot of pressure, they're going to eat whatever they can because they're like people, right? If you were starving to death, are you going to try it? Yes, you are. Most time pretty good, but nothing's 100%. So this is a new plant for us. It's a chocolate, I love the name, mint chocolate chip Manfreda. So it's not really a true agave, although it looks like it. This one is a little more cold sensitive. So definitely, if I were going to try it, I would probably put it in a pot. And that way I could bring it up either into my garage for the winter, or I could bring it up under my eaves of my house so it's getting some of that winter protection. So in my home, I have several things that are like zone 8, zone 9. I have a Moroccan mound. I've got a red fishhook cactus, several things that are pretty marginal here. But I grow them in containers and I bring them up under my eaves for the winter time. Sometimes they get a little frost damage to them, but they seem to grow right back out of it in the spring. So you can grow things that are marginal, just be aware of it and know how to treat them for the winter time. But it's just fun to try different things. And that's why I'm going to put one of these in a pot and give it a whirl for this season and see how it does. This is another one we're trying. So weather's changing, right? We're adjusting. So this is an emu plant. This is a zone 8 plant. Prescott's 6B to 7. Some parts are 8. So this is a very drought hardy plant. This is an Australian plant, actually. Very, very, very drought hardy, but I would put it in a warm spot, up against a wall, up against my house, put some gravel around it. You may, there again, if we get those really cold temperatures, maybe you want to throw a little frost cloth over it for the winter time. So we're experimenting. We're trying different plants to see where the line is. If you lived in Groom Creek, I would say, nah, skip that plant. We'll find other plants for you. But if you're in Humboldt, Dewey, Prescott Valley, parts of Prescott, and you want to try something unique and different, these are the fun plants that we're bringing in to see how they do here. Yes. 4 feet by 5 feet. It has another one too, doesn't it?
Yeah, so this one, we have a purple blooming and a red-orange blooming. So this is obviously, I brought this one because it's the one that has a little bit of a flower on it. The Valentine is the purple one. And again, 4 feet by 4 feet for that one. And it just fills up. Like this whole thing will fill up with flowers.
I believe it'll go
Dormant. So again, flirting with the line, trying new things. But this one, I mean, just filled with flowers all summer. Gorgeous bloomer. Go late into the September before it stops blooming, kind of thing. All right, now our true native stuff. All right. Yeah, we'll start with the less pokey, and then I'll bring over the cactus. Okay. Start with our traditional. This is a yucca. This is the stoplight, right? Yeah. You gotta make sure. This is the dwarf stoplight yucca, because you can get some big native yuccas around here that get 4 feet by 5 feet. They get that, if you know, up at the mall, there's a lot of them. They get that kind of big berry thing on them. Thanks. That's your traditional. That's your native one. This is still native. They just made it for the smaller yards, the smaller areas. This is about a bloom that's about to take off. So the blooms will get 2 or 3 feet taller than the plant. This one only gets 2 feet, right? 2 feet, 2 by 2. 2 by 2, and then the flower adds another foot. It's a great mixer because yuccas, a lot of people put yuccas in their yard by themselves and they're not super showy that way. I like to do them in clusters. We have yellow, orange, and red bloomers. You could do them in a trio. Again, they don't fight each other. They kind of just live with each other. Put them on a rock wall, a rock yard. They can handle the heat, and they bloom all summer. So they'll start blooming like May all the way to October. As soon as we get a cold, that really takes them out. You can cut the blooms off if you like. So as soon as this one stops blooming, I'd cut it back as far as I could down to just force more blooms, or you can kind of let it go to seed, do its own thing.
It's pretty when it goes to seed. It does like a little papery ball. It's kind of pretty. So sometimes in the late summer, I'll just kind of let it go. Just to kind of get that fall look to it. The other thing with the blossoms is the hummingbirds love them. It's another tubular flower that the hummingbirds love to be. They're attracted to it. And it doesn't matter if it's yellow, red, or whatever color.
Again, we've had javelina rip these out of the ground.
And deer.
They like to get the water from them, but as soon as they're established, they tend not to.
I would probably protect it if I was in a heavy deer. If I was in a heavy deer rabbit area, I'd probably put some fencing around it until they kind of got used to it being in the yard and they're kind of ignoring it now. But protect it to begin with. So this one is Texas sodal. Sometimes you hear desert spoon. So it has a cousin that's very gray-blue foliage. This one stays very green. Evergreen, kind of neat. It does bloom, but I wouldn't say it's known for its bloom. What I like about it is at the end, it does these little curlicues on the end of their little fronds there. Very animal resistant because it's got little sawtooths up and down the side. So it tends to be a very animal resistant plant. Nice evergreen, very low water usage, likes the full sun. Just if you're going for a xeriscape, southwestern kind of landscape, it's a beautiful plant to put in. I have several in my backyard and I like them because I don't have to go out and trim them. They don't take a lot of extra work for me. They're just out there looking pretty and I can kind of ignore them. So here we are in cactus. So cactus are like sedums, and that everybody thinks, oh, Arizona cactus, right? I can grow any kind of cactus. Well, not at our level. So we can get prickly pears, we do choyas, but we can't grow all the cactus that they grow in Southern Cal or in Phoenix or in Tucson. But we are there again experimenting with some new cactuses. So Kinsey is bringing a lot of different cactus in that we're experimenting with.
So we found this guy, and he's coming from California, but he's tested these in Utah, kind of southern Utah, where it gets that cold. So I only brought in things that he's tested in the cold that can live through it. So there's still might need some protection, but they can go through it. The one thing with these guys I'm going to talk about is in the winter time, they will lay down. They'll kind of shrink a little bit, and most people think they're dead. They're like, they died on me. They it's kind of their dormancy. And once it gets warm again, they fill back up, they stand back up, and they do great. So that's the one thing he's like, warn people, they'll lay down, then they lift back up when it gets hot. Okay, stuff like that. These are all a part of the Opuntia family, kind of a prickly pear family. Just different varieties. These three, well, they all bloom, but these throw off the big blooms. You can kind of see they're done blooming here on this pink. But it was a big bloom, and it kind of comes in different colors. Most of them are pink, but we're trying out different colors. Yeah. So this is the saucy cactus, Opuntia, but saucy prickly pear. Hold that,
they're heavy, and they're pokey. This one's not bad though. So yeah, and then this one with this is Dark Night. I like it because the petals actually have kind of that purpley color to them as well. So it kind of gives you some neat color out in there. And they bloom like a dark red, or is it pink? I think it's pink, which actually is kind of pretty because it shows up against that dark purple petals on there.
These guys all stay about, I think, 4x4. Oh. These two I just showed you are about 4x4. So that they're moderately sized compared to like your traditional prickly pear. I'm not trying to get you huge things in your yard because people have smaller yards. This guy's even lower. This guy only gets like 2 feet by 2 feet, maybe 3. So he stays pretty small. This is the beaver tail. So the cactus kind of look like beaver tails. It will get bigger petals as it gets older into a bigger beaver tail, but it just stays small. Kind of keeps to itself. Needles aren't crazy huge on that. So if you're like, this is too much for me, I do this one. Okay. We can go over how to plant cactus if you want. A lot of people are like, how do I even do that? Because I can't touch it. We can go into that, but let me talk about this last one here.
So this one's in the choya family. I think we have 3 different choyas down there, which is actually, I just learned this. See, you never stop learning. It's actually still in the Puntia family, but it's a choya. So compact. This one's compact, but we also have some that get like big, like you don't want your neighbors ever coming over. You put those in your yard. But with all of these guys, find the hottest spot in your yard, and that's where you want to plant it. Anything else? This is kind of your...
Yeah, so the compact only gets like 2 feet, so it stays smaller. I've got the tree forms. All of them kind of bloom yellow. All the choyas bloom like a yellow bloom on them. There's one that's red. I was wrong. Again, we just brought these in. I'm learning about them, but I trust them for this area. Choyas, again, do fantastic, but they do jump. Kind of you heard that jumping teddy bear cactus. That's in the same family, so just give it its respectful room. Let it do its thing.
Don't put it here.
No walkways, unless you want to keep people out. Again, I've had someone just told me yesterday the javelina took their prickly pear, dragged it on the ground, so it got rid of the needles, and then they ate it. So again, choyas, I'm not really worried about them eating because that's crazy. But again, they might go for it if they're desperate. But it's not something they're traditionally going to want to touch because of all the work it takes. But again, rabbits and deer, not a problem. Javelina are just jerks. They just want to touch everything. Yeah, they don't care. That's kind of, we can go over, what time is it? Let's do some questions. We have other things if we need. That's kind of all your hardy plants for here. There is a lot more you can do. This is just the kind of the top end. Okay. Questions on this stuff?
It looked like they were eating cactus, so I knew you guys were looking to do, so I just saw. How would I take care of this? Once they shoot up, just cut them off like that?
Yeah, so she has the cactus that the rats were living in, and then they ate out parts of her cactus, and she was asking, how do we kind of take care of that? Do you saw it out or not? I would say you saw it out if you don't like it. That's typically the only way you're going to do that. Break the part that it's connected to, the paddle that it is, and it will send up more, or you let it heal over. But I would just break where the paddle ends, break the paddle off.
It will heal over. It'll
Yeah.
always have a scar there. It will heal over. It'll have like a scar to it, but they heal over. The other thing about prickly pear is you can break off a paddle, just kind of throw it on the ground somewhere and ignore it, and it'll root. So cactus are very, very tough. But yes, the javelina and the rats, they're getting that moisture in there. They're looking for moisture. Sometimes that's something to be aware of with it.
Other questions? Anything? So the one thing I will mention, if you're planting this stuff, it doesn't like to just be thrown straight into the ground here, because the mixes that are in these are a lot more, they repel water. They kind of let water drain through. If you take it and you chuck it into our clay, it's just going to freak out. So this is premium mulch. We talk about it all the time. You mix half your premium mulch to a quarter bag in the native dirt. So if you dig your hole, throw this in on the dirt you've picked out, mix together, and then plant it in it. Okay, it just kind of creates more drainage, and it creates an environment that this plant was already in the ground. Okay, so really important for here to not freak out your stuff. It just needs to be planted in some soil that it's used to in its pots. Okay, so premium mulch. If you're planting in pots, potting soil. Don't do any mixing, potting soil or cactus mix. But premium mulch for the ground, that's the number one important thing. The other thing I will say is humic. Our soil has nothing in it. There's nothing in our soil. You've got to help it a little bit. You can't just leave it alone for years and expect things to do well. This time of year, you want to throw down humic. It brings your soil back to life. It's not a fertilizer, but it's great for lawns, great for things with short roots, perennials, but it's good for anything. Chuck it in your ground, even spread, water it in, and it kind of just helps the worms, your mycorrhizal colonies come back to life. And it makes your fertilizer work better. Halloween is coming up. That's your next time to fertilize. 744 all-purpose plant food is a great granular. Throw it down. Again, you can mix them together, throw it down, water it in. And it kind of just makes everything work and bring your soil back. Because we have to water so often and our water is hard, it kind of just kills everything as it goes through. So you have to help the ground here a little bit. But that's 744 all-purpose. Use it on anything and everything. It's all natural. It's not organic because it has bone meal and blood meal. It is all natural. Watered in. Dogs do like it. So if you water it in, you're good to go. But they can get to it. So just careful with that. Yes, you can talk.
She lets me talk. So we're coming up on fall. So those big natives in your yard, if you have the big junipers, big ponderosas, pinyon pines, you don't want to fertilize those a lot. But if we like to say fertilize them once a year, you are coming up on the best time to fertilize, especially your evergreens, because they're going to store all that energy and growth, because evergreens get one big push a year, and that's in the spring. So we're pre-feeding them. We're giving them that big burst of food so that when they put on their candles, their growth for the spring, they're putting on maximum growth. So if you never fertilize ever, but if you're going to fertilize once, do it in the fall. That is probably your most important fertilizing time, especially for those evergreens.
Yeah.
I have some irises that 5 years that I own the house up there. I don't even know what's on there. They never blew.
Oh. So it could be they need to be divided. because sometimes you get so many rhizomes in a spot, they just don't have room, and they're just telling you, I need a little help here. So September is about the time, September, October, you would divide those. So you dig them up, dig up that rhizome, cut it back, let it dry off, and then you can plant it in other places in the yard. The second thing would be fertilizer. So bulbs bloom once in the spring. They need a big fall push. So you can use superphosphate, or you can use bone meal. Bone meal if you're strictly organic, superphosphate if you're ambivalent, but definitely feed them in the fall. Really important. So anything that blooms in the spring, whether it be your bulbs, lilacs, forsythia, what else blooms in this? Quince, things that bloom in the spring, you want to give them a little bit extra. The all-purpose is great for that, but if you want really big, pretty blooms, you need either the bone meal or the superphosphate. That's going to be that additional phosphorus push for them to make really pretty blooms.
Anything else? Otherwise, we'll end it there. We'll be up here to answer questions, and then we'll send out the handouts later today or definitely Monday at the latest. Alrighty? Thank you. As you walk right in.
I'm just going to move that. Sure.
I think you called it, well, it was in the Society Garlic, there was something,
Pincushion.
pincushion.
Yep.
So what, is it just called pincushion?
Pincushion or scabiosa.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so okay, pincushion or
Right.
scabiosa.
So we have an area on the north side of our house that the landscapers have put plants in and they didn't make it because it's too much shade.